Ladies and gentlemen, from the Microsoft Theater here in downtown Los Angeles, brought to you by Shawn Porter Promotions.
What is up? What is up? Boxing world, it's your man, Showtime Shawn Porter, the two-time, two-division world champion, holding it down with the PorterWay Podcast with my man, my big co-host, Big Antt with two T's. Just kidding. The real Shawn is about to be shown to you right now. What's up, Shawn?
What up, y'all? What's going on? What's going on? What's going on?
Nothing, man. Well, we here joined by Shawn Zytel. What's your channel?
The Shawn Zytel channel.
Go subscribe and like. I think he's at about 13,000, 14,000.
13.
Okay, running the numbers up.
Oh,
Yeah.
very good. 1,300 or 13,000?
13,000, Shawn.
Okay.
Yeah. To tell us the secret, because goddamn.
Yeah, it took us forever to get to 13,000.
He had us helping him. That's what. That's the secret.
He has Zytel helping Zytel.
This is the launch pad right here.
Right.
No.
Hey, listen.
Hard work and dedication, Shawn.
Oh, I know. I know your secret to success. Listen, we're going to jump right into it. Obviously, we got a couple things to cover in the boxing world, but we got my man, DJ Daniel Jacobs, the Miracle Man. He's been sitting here for a minute, so we're going to welcome him into the PorterWay Podcast right now. Let's go. DJ, welcome to the PorterWay Podcast. I think you've been here before.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I've been there before, man. Always a supporter of everything you do, man. Glad to be back. Sure.
Yes, sir. I'll go ahead and start it off. You fight next week.
Yeah, right around the corner. Yeah, I'm excited. Yeah.
How it feel right now? Like, how you feel?
It feel good. I feel like I have a cloak of stress off my back, and now the mentality and mindset that I have going inside the ring, it's no pressure. It's when we first start out, trying to protect that as much as we can, so much that it stresses us out. Living the boxing lifestyle is a very stressful life and mentality. So having these time off that I did, I'm now able to have a full slate in my mind, most importantly, be in the right place. And I'm just excited to get back. I know I'm at the last chapters of my career. And so I want to be able to finish with a big bang. So that's something I'm looking forward to.
And of course, when you got the call that it was Shane Mosley Jr., was that being on the layoff, or just on the sidelines? Once you started seeing I'm coming back into the game, was Shane Mosley Jr., was that the kind of opponent you thought you were going to see, or did it just become Shane Mosley is what we got?
Well, here's the thing. As a free agent now, we have multiple options to work with different promoters and different managers. Some of their fighters from different organizations brought themselves to my attention. But some reason, shape, or form, it didn't pan out. So Shane wasn't the first option. We actually had, former world champions. We had top 5, status type guys. And I think throughout that whole process, when it didn't work out, Shane Mosley was another option. And it was on a card from, obviously, these new promoters who are now getting into the game, doing these big cards. We thought it would be a perfect shoo-in. And also, too, I think it's just a perfect scenario for me to not come in with a scrub that I know I'm going to knock out, but also come in with not the most experienced guy. Some of the dangers I have to look out for some of these top 5 or past champions. So it's just a good setup for me. I'm excited because I get to give my all, but also I don't really have to worry too much about, all of the dangers, because when you're dealing with past champions and top 5 guys, you got to be sharp. And being off for as long as I have, obviously, I want to make sure that I can acclimate the right way.
Danny, talking about other fights that could have been made at 68, I know one fight that's been talked about for a while in the division, like over a year, is you and Edgar Berlanga. Mm-hmm. Was that fight ever come across your table? And is that, one of the main fights you want to want to take place in this division now that you're at 168? Well, I know you fought Ryder, at 68 as well, but now that you're, planted firmly at super middleweight. Yeah.
I think for me, it's about what fight makes sense. And I know Edgar has his own plans. He's trying to campaign for the Canelo fight. And he, obviously has my full support because we're both New York guys. I've known him since, the amateurs, since he was a kid. And we both share the same management too, as well. Keith Connolly advises the both of us. So for me, it's all about whatever makes sense. I've always been the guy to really not look at relationships, especially if we're in the same sport. I fought my friends in the amateurs. I fought my friends in the pros. It's a business at the end of the day. But I think regardless to whatever fight panned out for me, I still have options. I'm still a player in the game. And with this fight coming up, I just think it's a perfect opportunity to get my name back in the mix of things.
Well, you mentioned that it's a business at the end of the day, and you've been an extremely good businessman in this sport, and also you were a middleweight champion. So at this stage in your career, how hungry are you, and what are you still, ultimately fighting for when you get in the ring, and long-term goals still in the sport?
Well, my mindset is different simply because I'm not fighting to survive. But also I have other goals for myself that I want to be able to secure. And when you're fighting to survive, that gives you a certain type of hunger. But also when you set also goals for yourself, and given the fact I have all of this experience, and at the end of the day, I'm still good. I'm still a player in the game. And so now wanting to be a Hall of Famer, that's another drive for me that's pushing me to be able to solidify my career with a big bang.
What's the next 3 years looking like for Danny Jacobs? World title? What are we talking about?
Obviously, yeah, that's the biggest goal, right? I think if I was to secure another world championship, that'll make me 3-time champ, 2 division champs. So I think that'll solidify all that I seek, which was trying to stake a claim in the Hall of Fame. And however long that takes, whether it's a year or 2 years, 3 years is a stretch. I don't know about 3 years.
Yeah, he said 3 years.
Hey,
I said, what are you talking about 3 years?
Hey, don't knock
3
Danny.
years is a stretch.
Danny,
Yeah,
your body
I'm
can
not
take
sure
it.
if I-
Your body can take it, Danny.
You don't know his body.
Danny beat cancer, okay?
Yeah, I mean,
he can beat anything.
Here's the thing, too. It's really not about just like, because I know my body can, my body physically is there.
Yeah.
But I remember listening to Shawn, and I agree with him 100%. When he described the reason why he retired, and just physically all of the work that you have to put in, day in and day out, doing this for more than half my life, sometimes you have to think about, do I actually want to do this? Do I want to put in the work? Because I can accomplish it, I can be that, but you're taking away from family time. My son is 15 now. I missed a lot of, some of his upbringing and some of the important moments that I would want to be around for because of boxing. And so, 3 years for me is a stretch, but as far as the physical and the mental, everything is intact. And the mindset is just win, 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 but ultimately look impressive so that I could stake that claim in the Hall of Fame.
And I mean, either champion, David, or is David champion? I don't know.
Benavidez?
Yeah, Benavidez.
Yeah, interim. Yeah.
Or a rematch with Canelo? Either or?
I mean, who knows what the possibilities are? Things are changing every other month.
Yes.
There's new champions. There's champions giving up belts. There's free agencies. There's, title eliminators. Like I said, I'm just happy to be a player in the game. I still have, a name for myself. I still have buzz around me. I'm not a scrub. People can't say that I'm not somebody or a force to be reckoned with when I'm, 100%. And so I just think that I play it fight by fight, but having the main goal motivate me. And when an opportunity and a slot opens up, I'll be right there ready for it.
I know we don't mean to make this interview sound like you're not fighting Shane Mosley Jr. this weekend. We all know you this coming weekend. We all know that you are. However, I think everybody in the boxing world, I think specifically, maybe even just specifically us, we're kind of enamored with the fact that you're back. We want to know how long you're gonna be back. We want to know what the goals are like. How often we gonna see you fight. A whole list of things. But the thing that stuck out to me about when you said this first fight back, you basically described everything that Shane's not. You said he's not the champion, the past champion. We know that, but he's also not, a top 5 guy who came out of the amateur program and has been knocking them all out. Like, describe who Shane Mosley Jr. is, and again, like, why you decided to take this challenge opposed to any other.
Well, I took this challenge because it was the only challenge that actually stood up and accepted the fight. We called out. I won't say all of the names because I don't want to put nobody on blast, but we got a lot of feedback from other fighters in their management and promotion that said they didn't want to fight. And you would think, they would look at me as fresh meat, like, oh, he's coming off a layoff. I'll fight him automatically. But I'm grateful that Shane stepped up, and ultimately the reason why this fight is happening because he accepted the fight when we tried numerous of other people. Me, I'll fight anybody at any given point. I've never dodged or ducked anyone. And so just the fact that he accepted it, I thought it just was a perfect fight because, you have to be quite frank, he's a very skilled fighter, very fast, very sharp, athletic. But from the opposition that I've fought, I would say that, I've had tougher fights. I've fought stronger people. He doesn't embody that knockout or that power that I should fear. There's certain things that I can depict in this game that I can say, I can go in there and be confident in 100% getting the win. And I think what makes me not overlooking him is the work that I put in inside the gym. So regardless to if I need to adjust in the fight or if he comes being the best Shane Mosley Jr. we've ever seen, at least I'm able to adapt and to adjust and to, put my wisdom and experience on the line as well to be able to manifest a win.
I know that people don't like being told they look like somebody else. I was just told yesterday that I look like my dad, and I'm like, I can't. I see it myself. I can't help it. But nobody likes being told that they look like somebody else. However, I feel like y'all have styles that really resemble one another. I feel like he doesn't have the polished game that you have, but I feel like this fight is gonna you guys are gonna mirror each other. What do you think about how this fight's gonna look?
I have yet to really think about that because for me, we're more so focusing on what we bring to the table and executing that 100%. And I think when that job is done, when I can be myself, let my hands go, which, most people are used to me, punches and bunches, flurries, combinations, thousands of jabs. When I can be my 100% self, I don't think that there's anyone in there that can really, mess with me. But with Shane, we do have in somewhat a similar style where we're boxer punchers, but he's not really the puncher. And then he's coming up from middleweight too, which really gives me the power advantage. But he's never really been hit by a guy like me before either. And so there are a lot of advantages, but he also has a lot of things that he's bringing to the table too. But for me, everything that he brings to the table makes me more excited because at least I know that the fans will get a good show. So this is me not, taking him lightly, but I call a spade a spade. Is what I see from him is someone who has talent, someone who has skill, but he's really going to have to bring that dog out come fight night in order to even, come close to having a victory over me based off of my experience, based off of what I do and what I can possibly do inside that ring come fight night. So, sky's the limit for me. And I do think, and I'm thankful for him for taking this fight, but I do think that, with the opportunity, it was a lot big for him not to take the fight. I think, he mentioned a couple of days ago, he had a fight with Carlos Adama that was brought to his attention, and he had to choose between Adama and me, and he chose me because I was the bigger name. So, the mindset he's looking at it, I'm sure, is he wants to be able to bank off of my name in a sense, where, that's going to be a lot harder than it actually looks. And I'm actually thankful, too, that people are thinking that this 2-year layoff would do a lot to me, but only time will tell. And so come fight night, you're going to see some fireworks for sure.
Daniel, how do you feel about trying to potentially beat down and dominate a guy who's the son of a fighter you probably admired and had a lot of love for as a teenager in the 2000s, or even as a kid in the late 90s, early 2000s?
No, I got a lot of love and the ultimate respect for the Mosleys. They're good people, the father, the grandfather, and the son. This fight doesn't represent any form of disrespect or me wanting to hurt somebody simply because, of who they are. It's just what we do. And I have to go in there and be professional, but I also have to give a good show. And how do I do that? By whooping some ass and looking good in the process. So that's really just my mindset. But, we can hug after, we can show respect after. I have the utmost respect for his dad and all that he's done for the game and being a fan of his as well. But it is not going to hinder me from doing the best job that I can do come fight night.
Was a young Daniel Jacobs in the audience back in, 01, 02 when he fought Vernon Forrest at the Garden? Were you there?
I'm not sure if I was there, but I may have been on some of his cards. Because remember, I first started out, I was on Golden Boy.
Right.
And, I'm thankful to my promotional team back then, Al Heyman back in the days, Keith Connolly, because my first pro fight was on Floyd Mayweather versus Ricky Hatton, if I'm not mistaken.
Wow.
And ever since that day, we've been fighting on champions and former champions undercards, and it was just a great experience. So I've always had a high level of respect for these guys, but I always knew my place and my time would come. And so now that we're here and I've accomplished all that I've accomplished, nothing is going to change. I'm just going to be professional come fight night and, hug and show some love afterwards.
I got to show some love to Daniel,
DJ.
Because he was at, this was Mandalay Bay. Sorry, Shawn. It was Mandalay Bay 2010, the Marquez versus Diaz card, Golden Boy. Danny was walking through the Mandalay Bay, all New York Giants out, New York Giants fitted cap, New York Giants everything. And, man, anybody who came up to him got an autograph, got a picture. So, Daniel, salute to you, man. You've always been one of the good guys.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say that, but before we let you go, I wanted to let you know back in the day, you had beat me at one of the tournaments, and now I gotta tell this story. My cousin, who was a boxer too, we at the room at the end of the night. This was like after our third time fighting. This might either our third or our fourth time fighting. He looked at me. He said, "Yo, y'all just like Shane Mosley and Vernon Forrest, man.
Yeah, man.
It's just something about the way y'all fight and how the fights look." And I knew he was calling you Vernon Forrest, and it just hurt even more. Like I was already hurt. He took it to another level, tried to console me. You know what I mean? So, all that being said, good luck. God bless you. Safe travels out to LA. And that there is Daniel Jacobs, who will be fighting on the co-main event of. I gotta ask you about this real quick. Jorge Masvidal and Nate Diaz. You're the co-main to two MMA greats.
Yeah.
Like, kind of talk to me about that just a little bit, and then we'll let you go.
I think that's great. I think it's like with the new wave of boxing in this new age, things are changing, right? You got these YouTubers now, in respects to them for changing the sport and bringing more attention and eyes to, people we've never probably would have attention to and would never watch boxing if it wasn't for some of these guys. And same as MMA. MMA fighters and fans stick by MMA fighters, right? And so does boxing. Boxing stick by us fighters, and that's just what it is. So for us to collab, I think it's just bringing great change. I'm happy to be a part of this card. I personally known and I have been in camp with Nick Diaz myself. Tremendous fighter, great boxer. And I haven't really got a chance to see his opponent box personally. But, come fight night, regardless to the outcome, may the best man win. And I'm just happy to be a part of it because I also feel like I'm being surrounded with this new age and this new wave of things. And, been boxing more than half of my life for things to be one way and for me to be, feeling like I'm only boxing, pro boxing. Now it's just like, sports is sports. We're all gladiators at the end of the day, and we all put our lives on the line when we go inside that ring to risk just for the entertainment of people. And so cheers to anybody that can step inside that ring because it's probably the hardest sport in the world. So I'm just happy to be a part of it. And also, too, I'm happy to, even though, we all want to be the main event and, we want to headline things, but, me now finding my way back, being a co-main event, I'm happy. I get to do what I used to do when I first came up. I used to fight and then come out dressed up and then go watch the main events. And so I get a chance to do that. And I know this is going to be a wild crowd because both those guys are crazy as hell and I love it. But it's going to be a good atmosphere and I'm just happy to be a part of it.
Good deal. Well, DJ, we're going to let you go, big dog. And we look forward to having you back on the PorterWay Podcast. Thank you.
Thank you, my brother. Always salute to you, man.
Always.
Blessed, man.
Danny.
Likewise, guys. Take care.
Thank you.
You too, brother. I messed up. I didn't ask him if his Brooklyn style speaks for itself. You gotta ask every guy from Brooklyn that.
Well, ask a guy that been in the ring with
Accident to
him.
death.
Ask a guy that been in the ring with him.
Did his Brooklyn style speak? By the way, was it more like maybe the guy meant the Mosley Forrest rematch, Shawn? Because Mosley, he went 12 in the rematch and won like 4 or 5 rounds. It was a much more competitive fight.
Some credit, man.
Yeah.
Come on,
Shane,
No. That wasn't it.
That wasn't it.
Shane
That
made the
wasn't
Hall
it.
of Fame. And
Yeah.
So,
I actually spoke to Shane's sister, and he ended up being in a car accident back in the day, and that's how he ended up missing the Olympic trials. And Vernon Forrest went on to be in the games that quad. Not saying that he wouldn't have been able to beat Shane, but Shane was the guy, and then got into a bad car accident and couldn't go to the Olympic trials, and so Vernon ended up being the guy on the team. So that's how it goes.
Wow, didn't know that. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
Vernon Forrest might, if he was around right now, he might be the best welterweight in the world. I mean, he was nasty. So
He was on a terror. There's no telling where he would have ended up, man. But he certainly was a terror and trouble. I didn't know Vernon Forrest until I had seen him fight Shane Mosley, and then it was like, now I need to know more about this guy. Like this guy, So
yeah, I mean, it's
anyway,
just,
man,
just a shame the
no, go
Mayorga
ahead,
thing.
go ahead.
No, just a shame the Mayorga. Sometimes you run into a wild card with a bad style, and that fight screwed up all the fights against the Trinidads and the Vargas and the De La Hoyas, and Forrest might have beaten some of those guys. I mean, he beat Shane, so. But anyways,
Yeah.
Boxing.
yeah.
No, I just want to say, Fanmio, that fight along with the main event, Jorge Masvidal and Nate Diaz will be on Fanmio. Download the app.
Hold on,
Go to the
Shawn.
website.
Hold on. Hey, guess who's working it?
Shawn.
We wouldn't be talking about it if I wasn't.
My man be grinding.
Yeah.
Shawn's like, if I wasn't getting a check, I don't know how much Nate Diaz, Jorge Mas. We still have Daniel on. I know that. I know we still have Daniel.
Yeah,
Jacobs,
right.
but, yeah.
But having to study these guys, like Nate was a monster.
Was.
I truly don't think he's that monster anymore.
Right.
I was ringside when he fought Jake Paul. Don't think he's that monster anymore. Maybe something will click for him mentally, being in the ring with the MMA guy, being in the ring with a guy he's got history with. But man, when I looked at Jorge Masvidal, I didn't know he was the guy that ran across the ring and Neato boy
The Ben
Nasty.
Askren. Yeah.
asking,
Ben
and it's
Askren,
just
yeah.
a wrap after that. I said, I know he can't do that, next week, but I'd like to see something.
You like the
crazy happen.
aggression. The aggression.
I'm not for UFC, but I'm for UFC, man. I don't make the time to watch it, but anytime I'm around it, I'm like you. I'm always the loudest one in the room.
Yeah.
You never some of the stuff they end up doing is just wild.
Yeah, I seen somebody get kicked with knocked out one kick last night, Shawn. Beginning of the second round, and I won my bet. Shout out to Alex.
Did you win your bet with DraftKings?
Yeah, I won my bet on DraftKings.
Nice.
So shout out to DraftKings
Very nice.
with the sponsorship of this segment.
Oh, by the way, Sean Garcia, Amado Vargas.
Oh, yeah.
Good fight on the undercard.
Oh,
legit looking forward to that fight.
Okay.
Yeah.
We got to
Do
download
they
that.
have?
How do we
Do
get
they
this
have
fight?
amateur history?
I think they do.
Yeah,
I think they do.
I think they do as well.
I think they do.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Garcia's got...
as I was
Yeah.
saying, Famio. That's how you download the app.
Okay.
I think they have the website as well. You go on there, you purchase the fight. It is on pay-per-view, but I think it's I could be wrong, but I think it's only $19.99.
Okay.
Definitely worth the money. You got two greats in the main event, and then you got a great and someone trying to be great in the co-main, and then of course on the undercard you got Amado
Vargas.
Vargas, excuse me.
Never.
And Sean Garcia.
Kid's got a great name. Spells it the right way. And
Anyone, I was gonna say Ryan's brother, and throws the same left hook as Ryan.
Oh,
He does. He's got fast hands like Ryan.
Actually, so they did that event out in
We were there.
a
We
couple
did
of
that.
years ago.
Ant was there too.
Pomona,
In LA in Pomona for
And
for the event. It was a like charity event
Yeah.
against racism, I think it was.
Yeah. And they had Sean on the card, and I'm watching him do his thing, and I kept seeing the hook. And every time I saw the hook, it was like, I've seen this somewhere else. And then it clicked. I was like, yo, he throws the same hook as his brother. It's he's just not polished, like, doesn't have, and I think this is a really good, like, 50-50-ish kind of fight.
It
you know
is.
what I mean? What do you think?
I think so too. I think Amado has the power and Sean has the speed. It's kind of a tough fight to call. I don't think either one is like, headed for world title fights.
Yeah.
But Sean started younger than Amado, but Amado has a right hand. He has a heavy right hand. So it's an interesting fight. And there's bad blood there too because there's been some trash talk with the youngest brother, Emiliano, about Ryan. And Ryan, I was there when they announced these fights in Vegas. It was a week before Devin and Ryan fought. And Ryan gets up there and says, Sean's going to knock out Amado just like Oscar De La Hoya knocked out his dad, Fernando. And then Fernando then reminded Ryan, I may have been knocked out a few times, but I never quit like you did against Gervonta. So it's good bad blood pumping into this fight between two young Chicano fighters. It should be fun to watch.
And the Vargas is on the roll with 2 knockouts back to back, so can we make it a third?
There you go.
Yeah. Great energy on fight night. You guys download that app.
$49.99 actually for the purchase of the paper.
Yeah, that $19.99. I was like, damn, that's really not bad.
$49.99.
Oh, I read something wrong then.
You good?
It's all good. Famio, check me out. I'll be on there hanging out, doing my thug thizzle, and it's going to be a great time. I think that's a good card with great energy, and I think that is definitely worth the time and the money. And again, you get to see me on there, so there's that.
And if you creating an app that's going to cover boxing, call Shawn Porter.
Yeah.
Every time I look up, this fool's covering a fight somewhere. I'm
And it could be anywhere.
Can I get away from? I forgot about ProBox. I was like, is that Shawn? I literally forgot.
And it can be anywhere. It could be not in the United States.
Yeah.
I just felt like the timing was perfect too. They knew that I was on vacation, but they knew that I was also in Ohio. And Paulie, bless him, he just lost his grandma. And they called me, they texted me Wednesday night and they told me, hey, would you be available? I said, let me check my wife. Of course, did that. And then Thursday they pulled the trigger, brought me in Friday. I have a picture, and I wanted to just show the picture real quick, just to show you guys, for anyone who doesn't know, ProBox TV has a English
some legends right
English
there.
version, in a Spanish version. And I mean, in the ring right there, you'll see Chris, myself, you'll see Juan Manuel, and also Eric Morales
I'm about to
right there, man. And just great, so great that the CEO of ProBox TV, he said, "Listen, I got great guys, Hall of Famers who are covering this fight, and this is ProBox TV's first World Championship night. This won't be the last, but this could possibly be since this is the first, and we have these great champions. I want the champions to get in the ring, and each of you ask the winner of this fight a question apiece." And I was kind of like reluctant to do it because I was like, how's this gonna look, you know? And it was seamless. He had a great idea, and he took advantage of having the great cast that you guys just saw right there in the same room on fight night, man. And I had a ball. I had to go out to Ross real quick and get my outfit right. But outside of that, man, I wasn't too comfortable with my appearance. But man, outside of that, man, we had a great time.
Well, it doesn't get much better than Barrera and Marquez. Like, that's grand.
Yeah, I said Morales. I meant Barrera. I said Morales. I remember. Excuse me, Marco Antonio Barrera. Excuse me.
It don't get much better than those two.
Yeah, a bunch of legends, Shawn. You're one of them. And,
trying to be, man.
Shout out to
go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying shout out to Lamont Roach, man. I think he did his thing. I was worried being at home, just won the title. I was worried he was gonna get in a trap. They say trap games or trap fight where he wouldn't look as good. Something was gonna go wrong, but for the most part, he handled his own. How y'all feel about stoppage?
Oh, good stoppage.
Good stoppage?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
Feargal had enough, and Lamont took
Too tough for his own good.
Yeah, so the
corner stopped it.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
They know their fighter, so they But I liked it.
I thought he came out steaming.
Mm-hmm.
He came out on his P's, his Q's, his RIS's. He came out with on everything. And then he had a couple of rounds where he kind of like digressed from what he was doing great and just started performing good. And then he kicked it back up and went back to great, and he got the job done.
Shawn, curious what you think about it, because you mentioned he came out steaming. I actually thought he did a good job letting those moments in the fight in the fourth round, and he dropped him in the third too, and in the fourth, and then knocked him out in the eighth. But I felt like he let those moments come to him. He didn't try to get in Feargal McCrory's chest right away. He kind of outboxed him subtly, early on, and he did what I kind of wish, it's easier said than done, but I wish other guys would do, which is outbox the guy early and let him come forward, let him start to take chances, and then you get off the heavy artillery and do your best work. I felt like he kind of did that well. And
I did it.
Yeah.
I did an interview right after the fight, and I said Lamont Roach and his dad and his team were 100% prepared for this fight. They didn't leave a stone unturned. Mm-hmm. And I think that's why he was able to do what he did. They knew that this guy was going to come after him. They knew that there was no other style this guy was going to come with. I think they knew if they hurt him, he still was going to keep coming right at him and all of those things. And I think that they knew the left hook was going to be there. Ended up being the first punch that he dropped Feargal with. And then what I felt happened was I felt he fell in love with that power and knew that because he knew that hook was going to be the punch, he started waiting on that punch, and then he started holding and waiting on the right hand. We even saw at one point, he literally went like this with the right hand, and then he didn't throw it. And it was like, that was the telltale sign right there that you're just waiting on power, big dog. Get back to the boxing and set it up. The thing, to your point, Zatil, but the thing is, not every fighter is just going to come after you. You know what I mean? So he was afforded the opportunity to lay back and cover up and let Feargal do these things because he knew Feargal wasn't going to do anything different. You know what I mean? Other fights and other fighters, they change the complexion, especially when they get hurt. They go on the back foot, they get on the back pedal, they try to preserve themselves and things like that. They knew that Feargal wasn't going to do that. So it just, he was allowed the opportunity to sit back and wait on it. But the other side of that, though, is the execution. He saw it and he went for it, man, and he looked really, really good.
Well, you mentioned the left hook. That was the best punch of the night. It was beautiful. And he had beautiful body work in this fight. And another compliment to Lamont is that, last fight, it was the opposite against Hector Garcia. He had to be on the front foot and cut the ring off against Tim all night and really use his right hand against that southpaw. This fight, he got to let the guy come to him and nail him with the left hook. So good, back-to-back performances there. But with the left hook, how was he able to keep landing it and not really get hit? Because the left hook, it's not like the brick hand where you could be rangy and on the outside with it and pop shot with it, and but the left hook, you gotta be bringing some heat and gotta be in the pocket to get that shot off for the most part. And he didn't get hit a lot. And what was it about the execution of that, Shawn, that let him do that?
I think they knew that Feargal was gonna box like this with his right hand down. And again, Feargal boxes coming forward. It's like you've got this like shoulder roll hand technique, but you're coming forward. It leaves you open for that punch. And then I think the thing that we saw from Lamont in this fight that we probably haven't seen before, I tell people all the time when it comes, and I've said it on the show, when we talk about power, we have to talk about the way the punch is thrown, the accuracy of the punch, and then what is the fighter who's getting hit with it? What is that fighter doing? When we see a fighter get just cold knocked out, what we have to look at is, well, where was his opponent at that point in time? Was the opponent coming into the shot, or was the opponent going away from the shot? If your opponent is going away from the shot and you catch him and you floor him like that, Tank Davis, like, you got some real legit power. Right here, this instant, I think we saw that speed makes power. A lot of people don't consider when you got speed that creates power as well. And we saw a guy, Lamont Roach, that has a lot of steam, comes from his speed, but he also has power. And he's got accuracy. He can find the right shot, land it in the right place, and on top of that, if his opponent's helping him, he gets the job done, as we saw.
What is it? Well, you mentioned that the speed can be power. Why is it that's not always the case for everybody? Like, I saw Richardson Hitchens against Lemos had some beautiful, sharp, fast, head-snapping work, but couldn't hurt him. Like, what is it that for some guys who aren't necessarily punchers, their speed does generate some power, but for other guys, seemingly it doesn't?
I can even talk about myself. I was a guy that was known for power in the amateurs, heavier weight, more muscle mass, list goes on. When my dad started talking about moving down to 47, I was looking at guys like Pacquiao and Floyd Mayweather and Shane Mosley and a couple other guys. And what I saw from all those guys was a lot of speed. So coming down to 47, what I locked into my brain was I had to be fast. I had to get off. I had to get to that point when it's there. If I'm not fast enough, I won't get it. Mentally, I took away from my power because I felt like I had to bring more speed. And that's what we see there. You can punch with power. The speed creates the power. But if you're only punching to be fast, you're kind of taking something off of the punch. When you punching with speed, but you're also turning the punch and delivering it with the intent to hurt, that's what creates the power. So you got speed, but when you also turn it to hurt, that's what creates the power.
What are you guys looking for next for my man? The personal fight that I want is unification of Shockey Foster. Shawn knew I was going to say that. I don't know if you did.
I knew he was going to say that. And also, you like from day one, you've always been the matchmaker here. So
yeah, like,
I felt like
this whole
conversation.
Yeah. I'm like, forget all that. Let's get to it. Shockey Foster, Lamont Roach. I would love to see that fight. I mean, it's a lot of fights there, but he may have a title limit. Mandatory. Knowing boxing, the efforts.
Or mandatory, as Kell Brook would call it.
Yeah. But Shockey Foster's the fight I would love to see these guys in. I think that's an action-packed fight. A lot of talent. A lot of talent in that fight.
A boxing purist fight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It may. Who knows how it will go? It's whoever dictates on win the fight.
I would give the edge to Foster.
And yeah, I feel you.
He's a little bigger. Lamont's not a big guy at 130. He's very good fighter, no doubt about it. Good professional in there. But I think Foster's a little bit bigger and maybe a little twitchier, a little faster. But Lamont sometimes Oshaki's motor comes and goes. He'll take some rounds off. That's why lately he's been having to pull off these dramatic finishes late in his fight. Yeah. And I wouldn't want to do that against Lamont Roach. Yeah. So he would have to be a little sharper for that assignment. But I feel like both guys fighting at their peak on the same night, I would give the edge to Foster. But I want to see, it's a boxing purist fight. Like you said, if you're a fan of speed and skills and positioning, and there's going to be exchanges too. I know some people might think, two skillful fighters, and they might be counter-punching and feinting. No, I think it'd be a good fight. That's a really good fight. But if he wants to get his hands on another belt, guaranteed, could fight another Irish kid, Anthony Kakachi.
Okay.
Go back-to-back against the Irish guys.
Okay. You gonna do the Irishman like that?
My name, I'm Irish myself. I'm Italian and Irish, so no offense taken, Lamont, if you get that other belt against Kakachi.
That'd be beautiful.
Yeah.
And then get Foster.
And then fight Oshaki. 3 belts.
Then Navarrete got something to say.
Antt, who else there, Antt?
Another one I liked. I don't know how you guys feel about this. Oscar Valdez.
That's a hell of a fight.
I think that'll be entertaining too.
Valdez has a rematch due now with Navarrete for the belt at 130. The WBO ordered that.
Okay.
Well, Navarrete, if he looks like he did against Brenagh, maybe, I don't know. It's going to be tough for Valdez to win that rematch. But I do love the matchmaking, though. Valdez and Lamont Roach. That would be fun.
I think that'll be a good
I like Valdez.
Against Navarrete or Lamont?
Lamont.
Valdez and Lamont.
Okay.
You think Valdez will beat him?
I'm hearing that it's going to be Valdez. I'm hearing that it's going to be Valdez and Navarrete. That's what I heard. I think like a couple of days ago I might have even heard that. But I think that's going to be the fight next for those two guys. However, I do really like, when we're talking about still trying to establish who Lamont Roach is, I think the guy to do it against will be Oscar Valdez before Oshaki Foster.
Mm-hmm.
I think I love Oscar Valdez. This is like one of the true warriors in boxing, but man, he seems like he's tipping on that cliff, on that edge, and the right fighter on a given night could send him over that edge, send him home. Yeah. That's how it goes.
Yeah. We're gonna go to Teofimo Lopez before we go and Steve Claggett before we go to Bam and
okay.
And
it's only right. Bam was the fighter of the night.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So I figured that's what we do. Give me your thoughts. And Steve Claggett, Teofimo Lopez. Talk to him.
Completely different performance than Jermaine Ortiz. That was a completely you want the opposite, you got opposite.
Right.
My man get hit with stuff, he just keep coming. He just keep coming. You push him back, he's like those cards that you wind up and you back. I'm like, bro, you just don't stop, man. Like, all credit to what's my man's name?
Steve Claggett.
Oh, Steve Claggett.
Yeah. Last week I
feel
gave
if you tell me I'm fighting Steve Claggett, I'm about to whoop this fool. But hey, I'll never disrespect another Steve Claggett in my life.
Remember, I gave him a little love at the end of the show last week. I was like, hey, the guy's got almost 50 pro fights. He's been pro for 15 plus years. Good for him getting a shot at the title.
I know Shawn was just sitting there loving his motor. He don't stop. Yeah. That's Shawn Porter all day right there. My man just continuously.
My thing was, I just thought I thought he looked good, and Steve Claggett never really saw him box before, so it was pleasantly surprising to see the way Claggett performed because. As we all know in the sport of boxing, when you don't know a name, you expect him to get rolled over and you expect him to get knocked out. And I said, you know what? Here's a great opportunity for me to tell people we're here right now. Even when somebody don't got the name, they may still be on that level. They may not have the speed and the quickness and the power and that kind of that aesthetic pleasing style.
But they got
stuff
the
like
heart,
that.
kid.
But they got the heart and they got the mind. And they've done this before. They have experience. So they're on that level. Teofimo, I thought was going to knock this guy out, but I saw very quickly, like, yo, this is not going to go the way I thought it was going to go. But I knew, but because that I didn't know this guy's name, I knew that there could be the chance that he could be actually on this level. I thought that this was in my mind was going to be more of a Feargal McCrory type of performance for Teofimo Lopez. It wasn't, and it wasn't Teo's fault. Like Teo looked good.
Yeah,
and he had the right style coming after him. They did the right. Applause to Top Rank for finally matching this man up with someone that
frustrating Shawn. They frustrate Shawn for a while.
Absolutely. So it was a good fight though, man. And the dude had a motor, kept coming.
Teo, great performance last night. I think he needed that. The power. I just thought he would be able to get him out of there. What do y'all think about the power? A lot of people say he left it at 135. How do y'all feel about that?
Well, I didn't think it was as strong a performance as you guys did.
Okay.
I thought it was more of like a C+ performance.
Okay.
Like I
was in the B's.
Okay, maybe B minus. But no, I mean I thought he won 10 out of 12 rounds.
I had B minus. I had B.
B minus, C+. Like
I had mid B. I had mid.
Okay, yeah, elevated to a B. Yeah. He doesn't want to be in the jerk train with me.
He got hit a little too much for me. He got hit a little too much for me. I didn't like the eyes swelling and all that. I'm like, come on, Teo. It's a little too much. Defense got to get sharper.
Well, like Shawn said, it was meant to be like Lamont Roach, Feargal McCrory, like a 3 knockdown, 8th round stoppage type of performance. And Claggett, to his credit, didn't let that happen. Look, first of all, like to give Teo props, like he won, I thought 10 out of 12. Some people thought he won every round.
Yeah, 11. I gave him 11.
He's still the man at 140. He's the man at 140. Still super athletic, still a really flashy, super talented counterpuncher.
Love when you get on the angles.
Yes. Yeah, he still does some eye-catching stuff against this type of style, especially. But, you talked about the power. It didn't look as good. I still thought, because there was people going all the way back to his first fight at Pedro Campa, who he hit with a lot of shots before he stopped them in 7, and people were questioning the power there. And I know Teo wasn't a bona fide knockout artist at 140, but I still believed he's a heavy hitter at 140. And the power wasn't that great last night. He had spurts with the uppercut, but he never put Claggett in danger of being dropped or stopped. And that's a little bit of an indictment of his power. It's like, okay, so maybe you're closer to having decent power, pop, than you are thudding, concussive knockout power at 140. So, and the problem is, like Shawn and you said, like the Top Rank gave him the perfect style. Jermaine Ortiz, Sandor Martin, these guys were movers. And Shawn talked about earlier with Feargal McCrory, coming in with the lead hand down when you're coming forward. And that's been a problem for Teo. But he didn't have to do that in this fight because the guy kept coming to him. So he was supposed to get the knockout because Teo's at his best when he's a counterpuncher. All he had all night long was counterpunching opportunities and still didn't have that bona fide, beautiful performance we were hoping and expecting for. Go ahead, SP. Let it be known.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Because respect to the Lopez family, but take a page out of the Roach family book. They were so prepared for Feargal McCrory, a fighter that nobody knows. And they came to the ring and they looked the way that they were supposed to look because of preparation. I'm not saying the Lopez family don't train. I'm not saying they don't do their research. I'm not saying that, but they weren't as prepared. So what did Teo do? Teo fell back into the athleticism. Teo fell back into let me be fast and let me have my hands down. But your timing's not there. Why ain't your timing there? Because you didn't train like this was
like
Lomachenko.
how they studied Lomachenko. Yeah, they had Lomachenko studied like a book. Yeah.
You got to go back to that.
Josh Taylor.
It don't matter.
Josh Taylor.
It don't matter where you are in your game. It don't matter how many fights you got left. Until it's over, every single training camp is supposed to improve. You're supposed to do what you did, plus not digress in any way, shape, form, or fashion. So when you see him getting hit a little bit too much, I saw that his timing was off. The same thing, just to back up what I'm saying, the same thing with Tyson Fury when he fought the MMA guy.
Francis Ngannou.
What was Francis? Yes. His timing was off. He looked a little sluggish, and he didn't look as sharp. Fast forward, he got Alexander Usyk, and I mean night and day. And it's like you have to be prepared no matter what, because a guy like like Steve Claggett, even though he don't knock you down and even though he don't bust your eye up and all these other kinds of things, he survives, and then people got to question your power because he survived. I'm not questioning his power. I understand the level that Steve Claggett is on, but for somebody that don't understand the level, don't understand, hey, I don't know this guy. He ain't supposed to survive. He survives because of reasons like preparation or lack thereof. You know what I mean?
I think the only reason why I even bring up power, because the ultimate fight we want is the Tank fight. And I think when you fight Tank, you have to have an equalizer of power. If you don't, he's just going to say F it. So that's the only thing. That's the only reason why I even brought up power. But at the end of the day, Teo's a hell of a fighter, talented as hell. I thought it was a great performance. Defense needs to be a little bit tighter. But at the same time, Steve has only been stopped one time before that. So
years ago too, like a long time ago.
So let's not forget that. The guy's a tough cookie. Man, was taking hella shots. So good for Teo. I don't know where we go at next to Teo. I'm looking at the reigning world champions at 140.
I would love him and Cruz. That'd be a great fight.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think that's the other two. I'm just like, no disrespect to the world no disrespect to the world champions. But I look at you guys and I just say, prove me different. It is what it is. But without Pip, I want Cruz. But I think that's about it for him.
That's probably the sexiest fight because Devin's on layoff. Ryan's suspended. Tank's at 35. Shakur's at 35. So,
and that's one of those fights that Shawn said you better study, know everything about Pitbull Cruz because he's coming.
Yeah. But
I could see that fight looking a lot like Tank's fight with Pitbull, where there's a lot of big moments, a lot of big mixed punches from Pitbull. I can see Teofimo outboxing him.
Yes.
And being on his P's and Q's. I can see that. I can see Teo being big enough and strong enough to lock him up when he needs to and all those other things. I from a stylistic standpoint, I don't see Pitbull being able to beat Teofimo Lopez. It's an exciting fight from beginning to end. Yep. That's the thing about Pitbull. Any fight he's in is going to be exciting. I think that there could possibly be I could be wrong. There could be some scary moments, but I feel like if I had to put a percent on it, I'm saying that's 60-40. Hate me, 65-35 for Lopez.
Damn.
No, I agree. But okay. I think Teo, I would have Teo in that fight too. But there's a chance he gets ran out of the ring. That's why you'd want to see it. But I think Teo would win.
Pitbull is just so tough, Shawn. It's literally when you was living in the hood, you had a dog that used to get out the gate. That's Pitbull Cruz. Like, oh, shit, this Pitbull out the gate. I got to go. That's Pitbull Cruz. Like, I'm about to fight this dog. That's Pitbull Cruz, man.
And he's harder to hit than it seems.
Yeah.
Burrows his chin in his chest, got a great high guard.
Shawn, you should have
this dog is.
You should have had that.
This dog's still in the hood. So, no.
Shawn, it's something, though, that's catching up with Teo in some of these fights is that very few fighters have the kind of gifts he has, and like Floyd Mayweather would call it special effects. Like he's got plenty of special effects. There's no issue there, but is it kind of the fundamentals are holding him back? The stuff Steve Claggett could do. Teo could do all this amazing stuff Steve Claggett could never dream of, but Steve Claggett does know how to keep his hands up and do kind of the most basic fundamental stuff. Yeah.
Listen, man, I talked to my dad one night and I said, I don't know if you recognize, but I talk about you in every interview I do. And he said, yeah, I noticed that. He said, why? I said, well, I mean, it just comes out. Like they ask a question at some point, and I said, mate, I learned it all from you. I said, you are always just a thought when I'm doing interviews. And so when we talk about fundamentals, and Shawn, you were there to see it firsthand. When it came to Shawn Porter, and I was extremely athletic. I was extremely fast and quick and gifted, and the list goes on. But my dad always said, I don't give a damn about this. Stop doing it. Work on the fundamentals. Because when you get tired, the first thing you're going to need is the fundamentals. When you get hurt, the first thing you're going to need is the fundamentals. People don't work enough on the fundamentals, and we got another fighter in the ring that's fundamentally sound and has a gas tank. There's certain things that you're gonna have to be able to adjust to. And when you can't adjust and go to fundamental technique, it allows the guy to survive. It allows the guy to look a little bit better than he should look. You may look a little sloppier than you should look, and even look a little sloppier than you think you look, because you feel like you're athletically doing all this stuff. And it's like, for us, it's like, well, we see it, but then we see you get hit, or we see it and then we see it not be executed the way that it's supposed to. You know what I mean? Yeah, I think that he needs to really start focusing in on his fundamentals and his delivery and what he does after his delivery. The biggest problem for him against Steve was after his delivery. You're done with your punches, but you're standing there. And then the other thing, of course, was he was on the ropes here and there and kind of allowing Steve to just get off, So, but fundamentally, you're never supposed to be in the corner and you're never supposed to be on the ropes. So I think
he fought the whole fights off the corners and the ropes. Yeah.
And so I think, for Teo and his dad, if they're able to get back to being fundamentally sound, they go back to being a wreck ball that can F up anybody's night.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because some of those movements were like, they're flashy, but they're not efficient. And even Boots will do some of that stuff sometimes where he's on the ropes and, well, Boots does different type of things, but the kind of stuff that looks good on the highlight reel, but it's not always efficient. He would turn his head on the ropes and actually turn his entire head, and you can't really counterpunch out of some of those positions. Like, it looks good, you're making a miss, and you're turning your head at the audience and bouncing on the bottom rope, but yeah, go ahead, Shawn.
No, I was just gonna say, a good performance. Happy to see him back in the ring, and I would love to see him back in the ring once more before the year is out. And that's being nice. Like, I would love to see him back in the ring twice before the year's out. But that's an extremely tall order, especially when you get to a point where you're only fighting elite fighters, and so much going on right now at 140. But I want to move forward real quick to get to Bam. And then we're gonna get out of here for the day.
Yeah, Bam. What did you see? I seen you covering the fight a little bit.
Man, it's I tweeted it like shortly after the fight. Yeah. Like, that's the third or fourth time I watched Bam, and that was special. Where I don't have to fix my eyes, I don't have to squint, I don't have to try to give too much credit. It's just there. He's a special fighter. You
gotta search for something.
No, it's hitting me right in the face. And it hit me in the face for Soren Visai, hit me in the face for Quadras, and it hit me in the face last night that this kid is special. He's one of the best fighters in the world.
And Shawn, y'all all know I love to see fighters go through something, then show me something. I love that he got stopped, got knocked down, knocked down, got back up. I think it was a draw. That round was a 9-9, okay?
Because he won every moment outside of the knockdown.
Because he almost stopped him in that round. But
you the one that told me you can't tie a round.
Okay. What you did, that wasn't a tie round for the Shawn. But if you would have seen what he did, Shawn, he had my man rocked.
We're going to have to compare. No. We're going to have to compare rounds.
Yeah, I'm telling you, Zantel seen it. Yeah. What he did in that round when he got up, Shawn, it was just like, bro, is he about to take this round? I couldn't give it to him because he went down, but man, special, man. Just like it didn't flutter him. Just, okay, I was down. It is what it is. It's boxing. He said at the end of the fight, I always wanted to know how it felt, so I guess we got that out the way.
But it was a beautiful moment for Estrada because really the kid was getting overconfident. He was getting jazzy, Shawn. Right, in his own Bam Rodriguez way. He was getting jazzy, starting to style on Estrada, and maybe even playing with his food just a little bit. And then Estrada said, "Wait, hold on, young man. I'm Gallo Estrada. I'm going to the Hall of Fame probably one day." Yeah. Bank, just to remind everyone here before this guy inevitably stops me. Yeah. I'm Juan Francisco Estrada. Okay, carry on.
Yeah, I hit him with some old man strength one time. Old man strength. Old man strength one time.
Right. But I made a comment to Robert Garcia, a week ago at the Fontainebleau when he was working the undercard at Top Rank. I joked with him. I said, man, Bam is like he has footwork like a Ukrainian, but punches like a Mexican. And I'm being, I'm kind of kidding around, but no, it's very obvious to me that Bam is super well schooled. Not just because Robert's a great coach, he on his own, like it's very apparent to me, he studied great fighters and has peeled. When sometimes like as a non-fighter, you'll wonder, how do fighters realistically go about peeling things from their favorites without trying to be a copycat and doing things still working it into your essence. And I noticed Bam has done that beautifully because some of his little half steps, Manny got dropped by Marquez doing this, and Gallo, who's sometimes similar to Marquez, dropped him on the same move, but he does the little explosive half step out of the southpaw stance to really get in range before he lets his shot go, do a little feint, and then half step in, bink, and Manny Pacquiao was great at that, like Shawn knows. But then he also does, you could tell he studies all the southpaws, Bud, Usyk, Lomachenko. He does a lot of that lead hand feints. He gets to the orthodox fighter's weak side. He gets that lead foot positioning, gets to the outside of their lead foot, off the double jab, bink, bink, beat you up with something off of that. And you could just see a lot of that Usyk, Lomachenko feints. You see the little Manny Pacquiao, and you could tell this kid has studied great fighters, and he's one of them now. Yeah.
Yeah, no, he's definitely one of them. At 118 now, or still 114?
He's 15. He's 15.
Okay, gaining weight.
The fight I think the hardcores want to see the most is him go to bantamweight and fight Nakatani.
Yeah.
A little bit more of the casual take is go to 22 and fight Inoue.
Yeah.
He's too little. He's just too little right now.
Yeah.
But there's a really good Japanese fighter.
I'm saying, let him have his moment. He could be in your way. Let in your way. Just keep going. Hey, when he move up, you move up. He go to one, you move up.
Right.
Just let keep two. Was it 1-2 weight classes?
They're two apart.
Keep them two apart. There's no need to rush.
It's a little bit like the Inoue Tank stuff.
Yeah.
It's a little bit like the Inoue Tank stuff.
Yeah, it's cool, man.
We will get that fight before they're both gone, though.
Bam and Inoue?
On the way out?
Probably.
I think we 100% get Bam and Naoya before they and before like they're old. Like
we got a better chance of that versus Tank?
Yeah.
3 years. We got 3 years.
Okay.
Before we get there.
So you think Inoue moves up to 26 and then has success or whatever and says, let me get back to 22 where I'm really, and that's where they fight at?
I could see him going to. I think Naoya is going to stop at 130. I could be completely wrong about that. I don't think a lot of fighters are always like, let me take this step up for the money. Let me take this step up, so on and so forth. If he looks at fighting at fighting someone like Tank at 135, if Tank's even still at 135, I think that will more so be because he has felt like he's conquered the world, and I'm gonna just do this because I'm the guy and I can do this. But I more so think that Naoya is more so just interested in being the greatest at his weight class. And once I feel like I need to move up, or I should move up, or I could move up, then it'll be great in this weight class. I don't know if he's going to do this back and forth from 26 to 22. I think he's going to stay at 22 till he feels like he conquers it. He'll go to 26 till he feels like he conquers it. I don't think there's anything that's going to pull him back to 22. I think even for somebody like Bam, if everybody's saying, oh, you got to fight Bam, Bam come to 26. I don't think he goes to 22 to get Bam. I think he's going to want Bam to come up to 26. And then I think he'll go to 130 if he feels like he wants to or he needs to.
And
that's quite clear. Like, I just tried to look into a goddamn crystal ball for no goddamn reason. But yeah, I do. I mean, I really like Naoya. I think he's really good. I respect him because I think he respects boxing.
Yeah.
And I don't think he's not messy. I'm sorry. I think that's what he's not messy. He's not about the business. Let me do this. Let me do that. No, he's going to respect this thing and he's going to do it the way it's supposed to be done. Bam that boy is the guy. And I think that you're right. And I think they're going to stay like this for a little while. And then I think eventually Bam might make that jump when it makes sense.
Because one thing about Inoue, I don't want him to chase the money and be like Danny Garcia, Mikey Garcia, or Adrian Broner, where they were great at 140 and then they just kept going to 147, and then it's just like this is a different level. I don't want Inoue to get into that. Some people can do it, some people can't. I would love him to top out maybe at 130, and that's it.
Now or Bam?
Inoue. I'm talking about Inoue.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's one thing about him. But the Bam thing, greatness.
Yeah.
Pound for pound yet?
Yeah, definitely.
You put on pound?
There's no way there's 10 fighters in the world better than Bam Rodriguez.
Okay.
There's no way. I think he's.
They just so light. They're light in the
But
ass.
that's what pound for pound was made
I know,
for.
I know. That's why I gotta respect it. Because what I see.
All right, well then let me ask this one. And this is for both of y'all, but Shushu and Bam. We talking about Bam and Naoya.
That's a lot. That's a lot of weight. That's Shawn. Come on, man. Come on.
How about Shawn Porter and Usyk? Oh wait, that's right. That's right, big guy. You actually did fight him. Okay, good job. No, but
that's two different. Have you ever seen Bam in person?
Yes, he's
and you see Shushu in person?
He's a strong built kid.
There's two different guys.
You saying versus Shushu and Bam?
I never seen Bam in person.
Yeah,
Obviously, I know Shushu.
Yeah, Shushu's just a bigger man. Bam is a strongly built little guy, though. No, he's stout.
Stop you?
You see him? Yeah, he'll stop me.
Stop me too.
He'll stop you too. Yeah.
It might stop me.
Shawn, you can't get stopped. Okay, you former hands. You had hands at one time.
I don't think he's just scraping on the pound for pound list too, man. I think he's like top 7.
Okay.
I think the top 4 right now are pretty firmly planted. Is Bud, Inoue, Usyk, and Canelo at 4. Mm-hmm. And then after that, it gets kind of dicey. It's like, Bivol, Beterbiev, Tank. I think after those top 4, he's right in the next 4, which is probably Tank, Bam.
What about Benavidez?
Benavidez, I think, is either like number 10, 9 area or Bivol? Just outside the top. Bivol's in the top 10. He beat Canelo. That wins like gold. So but
he said that's gonna keep him in his position for
no matter what.
Yeah, that wins like gold. You know, you could.
What we got? Anything else we good?
No, I think
what else we got?
Shakur and Artem Harutyunyan on Saturday.
Yep, that's Shaki Foster.
Yeah, doubleheader against Conceicao.
Who else is on there?
Keyshawn,
that's a good card.
That is a good card.
I'll be at another card.
Okay, we got you. Yeah, so support that card.
What's Famio? Yeah, go ahead.
Can you bring me back the Mighty Ducks throwback from the arena? They're fighting in Anaheim at the pond.
Right.
Yeah.
So what did you say though?
Could you bring me back like a Mighty Ducks throwback something?
I got you, Zatel. I got you.
Okay, so you bring out stuff. Can you drive over to Disneyland and get me a turkey leg?
Do that.
The sound went out on you, Antt. So I don't know what the hell
he said. Could you go to Disneyland and get him a turkey leg? Could you do that?
No.
What about the Forky Pops? They got the Forky little cake.
I'll take that.
Cake Pops. Over on the Pixar Pier, Shawn.
Hey, Shawn, ready to get out of here.
All right.
Yeah, let's get out of here. The motivation that I had today was kind of, I guess, for the sake of words, inspired by Daniel Jacobs.
Okay.
Also inspired by Mr. I'm losing his name. And we joked about this the other night too.
Hey, Shawn. All right, while you do that, Shawn, I got one.
CEO.
I got one, Shawn. Shawn.
Go ahead.
Gary Jonas.
Gary Jonas.
Okay.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Somebody
go ahead.
said,
you got it or what?
Yeah. No. I'm gonna let you go, but I'm gonna just say one. Beware of the gems you drop. Everyone not meant to catch them.
Everybody not meant to catch them.
Mm-hmm.
Or everyone isn't meant to catch them.
Yeah.
Whoa. Yeah, man.
Now go off that.
Yeah. Don't waste your damn time. That's what I heard.
Okay, all right, I got you.
But those two guys, Gary Jonas, you know, he had a goal, a mission, and not only that, and the question you asked him the other day, how did you get this cast? How did you get these guys? Mm-hmm. I don't think right off the bat he knew exactly how he wanted it to look, but eventually he saw the best out there, and he said, "Man, I gotta have the best here." You know, what I want to tell everybody, my motivational message today is just be your best. You know, there's so much more that you can do, and don't settle for less. Which moves me into Daniel Jacobs. been on what I consider to be a 5-year hiatus, and he's coming back after about 2.5-year layoff, because he's expired to be great. He's already done some of the greatest things you could do as both an amateur and a professional. And upon being on the sidelines for 2.5 years, he said, "Man, I need to solidify myself in the Hall of Fame." And I know that that's a goal that he's had for some time now, because we spoke about it, and knowing that he had to come back to establish his greatness, not afraid to do his best and go out and do more, be more. My motivational message for everybody this week: be your best. Don't be afraid to go for more and never settle for less. This is the Porter Way.